Doo-doo-doo. Hey, everybody. Give me a second to make sure that I'm on both platforms. I am on another device on Facebook. This is my first time doing Facebook and Instagram at the same time. So, listen, if y'all want to put y'all hands out to pray for me, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Hey there, Insomnia Pope, Ronnie. Hey, Ronnie, Jasmine. Hey. So I'm just setting up. I'm going live on Facebook too, and YouTube and Instagram. And this is the first time I'm going live on multiple platforms, y'all. So pray for your girl. Hey, Ronnie. I'm surprised you ain't on the road somewhere. So I am talking about unlocking your voice today. That's what we're talking about. So I'm going to give some people a few more minutes or so to get in. Hey, B Fraser, a few more minutes to go ahead and get in, and we'll get started. So I'm just getting all set up here, and I'm excited. I'm super excited, y'all. This is truly a new season for real, in real life. So I appreciate y'all stepping on with me. Oh, you are out. Of course you are. Why wouldn't you be out? I mean, for real. I'm gonna have to jump on one of your one of your trips someday because you be out. All right. So yeah, I'm on Facebook too. So what I would love for you to do is share this video, comment, like, engage with me if you're here to stay. And let me know afterwards. I'll give you a few opportunities to ask a few questions if you have some, and we'll get moving. So yeah, I'm just setting up on Facebook too, and I think I'm all set up. Let me just double check. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. All right. So let's get started. I'm not sure who's on Facebook with me right this second. Oh, wait, hold on, y'all. Because, like I said, oh, here we go. The chat. Bam. All right. There we go. All right. So today, again, we're talking about unlocking your voice, right? Unlocking your voice. If you don't know who I am, I'm Liv. I work with faith-filled women, and I help them. Hey, Rachel, that's my girl right there. I help faith-filled women turn their knowledge into expertise, and I'm looking back and forth from Facebook to Instagram Facebook to Instagram. So stay with me, right? So yeah, I help faith-filled women turn their knowledge, their wisdom, their passion into expert products or digital products, as many would say. Also, different packaging, which might look like tiered level, multi-tiered level packaging. And I help them overcome all the hindrances that might come with that, right? Because we know whenever you're starting something new, hi, Just Mike the Poet, we know when you're starting something new, there's going to be many hindrances that come with that. Alongside of that, I help them with the creative direction, I help them with accountability, and really just holding their hand so that they can do the work, right? I'm not letting you cop out. All right. If you say that God told you to do something, well, your sister is gonna make sure that you get it done, right? We gonna make sure that you get it done. I'm gonna push you, and as a coach, I make sure that I show up to your games. So whatever it is that you're doing, I show up for you. And so that's a little bit about me. I've been doing this for maybe a little bit over 2 years now, but I've been technically, but I've been coaching for probably forever, really. Okay, because I've always been that person that people came to, and just gave them sound solution and advice. And I started out as a brand developer, website developer, and all those amazing things, and shifted swiftly over into coaching, and it's really been an amazing journey thus far. All right, so let's kind of get into it a little bit. I want to kind of talk about, I feel like I'm on like the multi. All right, let me not be silly. So, some of the things that clients come to me for is they always say they don't know where to get started. That's always going to be infamously what they say when they come to me. I don't know where to get started. But what I find is that it's not just they don't know where to get started. They're also dealing with tons of mind battles, right? They're dealing with all these different hindrances, such as, it could be comparison, it could be confidence, it could be just creative roadblocks, it could be shame, it could be fear, it could be self-sabotage, inadequacy, all of those different things. And so I quickly realized that, when we do our different conversations, and, we're getting started, I'm trying to make sure that I'm good for you, you good for me. And I recognize that. And so I implemented that as well in my coaching program, right? Hi, Eve Eve. I'm just gonna say Eve. Hey Eve. I had to implement that into my program because one of the things is that if you're still dealing with the hindrances of trying to step out and walk in purpose and allowing your voice to truly be unlocked, then more than likely you're going to not deal with the level of confidence, right? You're not going to, I'm sorry, level of consistency. And so I had to begin to implement that. And so also alongside of that, we're breaking barriers, and recognizing that you are the driving force of whatever it is that you have to do. Obviously God is always going to be the head, but he uses you as the vessel to move the mission along the way. And so I want to give you three hindrances today that many people might deal with. And hey there on Facebook, how y'all doing? I'm not trying to neglect y'all, I promise. I wanted to give y'all three hindrances that you might deal with, or someone may deal with. And that's why it's so important to tag, share, um, comment. Let me know, because maybe there's something that you can do to help somebody else that would maybe hinder you from unlocking your voice, right? And again, these are just steps to unlocking your voice, but a lot of that moving into the steps comes with the hindrances, right? And so one of the things necessary is to understand your identity, right? And if you're cultivating your voice and your voice is tied to your story, then it's necessary to know that your voice cannot be locked up in shame. Because if your voice is locked up in shame, and your identity is you're redeemed, you're set free, you are not condemned and you're forgiven, then you know that shame, it has no control, nor does it carry any true weight. Shame is just a lie, right? Because your story it does not make your identity. While God can use it, it does not establish who you are. It is just a point of your life that God may have used to get you from pain into purpose, or it's something that he used to begin to cultivate you. And the funny thing is, I found myself working in all of this. I found myself working with three types of individuals, right? So it's not just stories. So you might say, well, I want to tell my story. But I found myself working with people who tell the story. And that might be something that they dealt with. Um, I'm not going to call you out. I ain't going to call you out, but you know who you are. Right? You know who you are. Uh, you also are very passionate about something, right? So there might be something that you toss and turn about at night, and it carries such a weight and a burden on you. And then there's something that you are an expert of, right? You might have learned how to become an advocate of something, and you've done the work to study, you've done the due diligence, you may have even gone to school for something, and now you're like, look, I ain't about to work for nobody. Or you are working for somebody and you're just kind of going out and stepping out on your own, right? And you just don't know exactly how to do that creatively. You don't understand the processing of it. And so those are the types of people I work with, right? But number one in all of that is understanding your identity, and understanding that you are a handiwork of God, right? You're his handiwork, created in the image of Christ, who he predestined to do a work in the beginning. And I have to say that because a lot of times if you're dealing or struggling with your identity, then you don't necessarily understand why you're so valuable. You don't understand why your voice is so necessary. And you also may not even understand that the story or the things that you may have dealt with, or the things that you've learned in the process of whatever your journey has been, it's not just for you, right? It's for somebody else. If you don't understand that you are also a part of the body that is not insignificant, right? You have to understand this. This all goes with identity, right? And again, you may have all these things that you love to do, but if you don't understand this foundational work, then you're never going to be consistent. You might as well throw it out the window. You have to understand that you are part of a body that is not insignificant, right? And you might not understand that, but you have to recognize that you're a working part of a body that works together. And the wisdom that you have is a seed. It's a seed that needs to be stewarded and harvested, right? And so if you are planting a seed, then I'm the seed, right? Whomever you're speaking to is the seed. Whomever you are helping is the seed. That we're soil. My heart is soil. Me as a person, I'm the soil, and I'm planting that seed of whatever it is that I'm giving, whatever story I'm telling, of how I got to the other side, whatever that wisdom that the Holy Spirit has given me, I'm sharing that with them, and I'm planting a seed. See, the word of God says, and y'all have to know I'm a faith-filled coach, right? So I'm always going to take it back to the word. That's just me. The word says that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few, right? And if we're so locked up in our own selves and not allowing the things that God has planted in us and stewarding those things well enough to help others, and then that there won't be a harvest, right? And we're all a part of the harvest, all right. I'm not going to get into that today if you don't know, but we're all a part of the harvest. The word also says that in Revelations 12:11 that they triumphed, right, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so if you're telling your story, if you're telling your testimony, then you have to also see that that is not just for you, that is for somebody to also begin to overcome, right? And so that is another way that you can begin. Hey, that's also another way that you can begin to unlock your voice is by just understanding your identity, understanding the value of your voice, understanding why it's necessary, and understanding that you are a part of the body that needs to steward what you have. All right. And so here's the second thing: clarity. Clarity is another way of beginning to unlock your voice. You have to get the clarity. If you don't understand one, the authenticity of who you are and what's your and your voice and how you speak and how you articulate and just even the cadence of your voice, then it's going to be really hard to connect, right? It's going to be super hard to connect with your audience, right? And most of what you teach, right, is based on how you're hardwired. It's based on your experiences in life. Reality is like I dealt with identity issues for a long time, right? I dealt with identity issues, and let me tell you, it was a stronghold. It was a sure stronghold for real. And it's funny that I went from dealing with identity issues, right? Like for years, to teaching or to being becoming a brand identity specialist, right? To then now teaching people how to understand their identity, discover their identity, and help unlock their voice, right? Because a lot of our identity becomes locked up in our voice, and what we say can be real and it can be false, right? And so you have to know that you have to get the clarity there. The other aspect of your clarity is also understanding your why. If you don't know your why, then you're going to have to you're going to have to work really hard to be sustained. You're going to have to be really hard because it's your why that becomes a driving force in how you are one helping people, how you're serving people, and how you're showing up. And so if you don't understand your why, I mean, somebody could come to you today and be like, what is your, what's your elevator speech? Because that sometimes in turn becomes your why, right? That's how you're, articulating that. And you might say something, but is it real? Is it real? Like that why is going to sustain you, because at the end of the day you're going to know that it's not for you that you're doing this for, despite all the hell. Excuse me to all you extra Christians, I love y'all, but that's the only word I will ever use, because that's what it is, that you may have had to endure, that would try to stop you or block you from beginning to use your voice, right? The other aspect of understanding your clarity is knowing that knowing that you are necessary, getting really clear on that, getting clear on who you are as an individual, getting clear on your storyline, getting clear on why you may have had to go through what you went through, why God allowed you, why he gave you the grace to deal with what you dealt with, and why and how that helps somebody else. So get very clear on that. The other aspect is knowing your heart posture. Your heart posture has to be in the right place, because if it's not, then you have to see if you're doing this if you're speaking for show, if you're speaking to get recognition, if you're speaking for validation. If your heart posture is not right, okay, then you are not, it's going to be very hard once again to sustain being in that clear place to continue to go forward. Because when you are clear, all right, when you are walking in purpose and when you are a kingdom person and you're doing this for God, I'm going to tell you this, and you may get it from other places, but I'm going to tell you right here right now, there is that you're always going to be tested, all right, in what you believe. You're always going to be tested in what you start. You're always going to be tested if this is what you're supposed to be doing. And so if you're not clear on it, you're that when that test comes, when that storm comes, right? Because the enemy, he loves to come like a flood. He loves to come roaring like a lion. You're gonna be tested. And if you're shakable, then you're gonna fall and tumble right over. All right. And so get very, very clear. Get super clear on why you do what you do. It is imperative that you get clear. Um, Excuse me. The other aspect with unlocking your voice And there are only three. This is a 3-day event, y'all. These are three today that I have. Is understanding the creative aspect, understanding to not walk in perfectionism, right? Because one of the things that, like I said, one of the things that people come to me for, I mean, one of the things I see when they come to me is comparison. They deal with a great level of comparison. They see how Sharonda over here is doing this. They see how Tay Tay over here doing that. They see how Brandy and Rachel over here is doing the things and doing the work that they have been called to do and how they're being called to do it. And they want to compare. And then that begins to steal a level of creativity, because creativity really does come from an aspect of joy. You know, it's what when you're creative, you're doing something that you enjoy doing. And if comparison steals joy, then you can't be creative. And so you need to make sure that the level of creativity that you are moving in and operating it is you, and that you're being yourself. And once again, we go back to that level of authenticity, that you're being authentic in the things that you are supposed to be doing, right? And so your creative is directly on something that gives you joy. It's not based on anybody else, right? Because I always tell my clients this: I like different kind of bread, right? I like wheat bread, but there's a lot of different kinds of bread, right? There's tons of different kinds of bread. When you walk in that bread aisle, you're going to get 25, 30 different kinds of breads, and all those different breads, they might have the same ingredients, but they might say something different. They might look different. They might have no gluten. They might have gluten. I don't know. But regardless of the fact, I might not pick up the same amount of the same loaf of bread that one of y'all might pick up. Somebody might pick up. I like bougie bread. I like bread that got the little cute oats on the top, and it got a little honey sprinkled on it. It probably got tons of calories, but I like that kind of bread because I'm not supposed to eat bread. But when I do, if I do, it's going to be the good bougie bread. All right. But somebody else might say, I just want some Wonder Bread. I don't even know if they still sell Wonder Bread, but they might say, I want Wonder Bread. I want it basic. I want it simple. I want it sweet. All right. And so that's creatively how those things are showing up. And so you have to make sure, however you're showing up creatively, is how you show up. Right. I always say this: there are different spiritual gifts. There's tons of spiritual gifts in the Bible. It talks about if you're encourage, right? If you're a person that gives exhortation, then do that. You might come up with some amazing reels, right? You might be a writer. If you're a writer, write. If you're a speaker, speak. All right. And there's so many creative ways, excuse me, especially digitally. Because if you haven't known by now, I work in digital spaces, right? To do that. In that digital space, everything that comes along with that is a byproduct of how you're showing up on digital. These are the times that we're in. This is how I utilize it. This is how I work in my framework. If you get speaking engagements, it more than likely came from you being on some digital platform, right? And because ultimately that's the goal, right? Everybody wants to be on the stage. Everybody can't take being on stages, but that's what everybody want to do, right? And so if you are a speaker, speak. All right, speak. There, you can go live. You can. I always say, be creative. Maybe you sung at some point. You can do vocal affirmations and get them published on Spotify. You can do. Hey, there's my little brother. Hey, hey, Divine. You can do vocal affirmations and get them published on Spotify. Because something else that I deal with when I'm speaking to clients, they say, I don't want to look like how everybody else is looking. Well, you don't have to. Yes, everybody is doing an ebook, but make it your own. If you have a devotional, do a devotional. Don't have to do a virtual devotional. Put it on YouTube. You don't have to do things how everybody is doing them. Make it your own thing. Hello, everybody. Hey, I'm such a lady, such a okay. Hey, such a effing lady. Hey, ma'am. Hey, become that stylist. Hey, girl. Nice to see y'all. Welcome to it. We're talking about today how to unlock your voice, right? How to unlock your voice so that you can package up your expertise, how you can turn it into digital products. It's a 3-day event that I'm doing. One is I'm doing 2 lives and then one a podcast on the Boulder Woman Speaks podcast, which is also mine. But we're doing that this week, and I'm excited about it, right? Because so many people have their voices have been muzzled, their voices have been muted, their stories have been locked up. The enemy would love to keep you locked up so that people are not free from whatever it is that you have. And I know that this is a season that God is really speaking. He's saying, listen, I'm trying to unlock y'all voice because I need the redeemed of the Lord to say so. I need people to tell y'all what it's like to get to the other side, what it's like to have this wisdom. Because so many people also think there's nothing in them, but you just don't know that the one thing that you have that you don't think no one is going to listen to is a solution for somebody else. It's a solution that unlocks something for somebody else. It's a solution that helps other people dream. And so listen, hey Monique Clark, how you doing? It's a solution that helps other people dream. And that's why it's so imperative that our voices are not shut up in this season. That's It's so imperative that you begin to understand what it's like to one speak and to have the confidence to do it, but why God needs you to show up. Hi Keiko, how you doing? Why you need to show up. And so there's definitely ways to do that. The things I've already talked about, if you're just hopping on Facebook, if you're just hopping on Instagram, hey there. If you're just now hopping on Lane and Bernie's, if you're just hopping on, we're talking about unlocking your voice. And some of the things I've already talked about is dealing with the hindrances, because I deal with clients that come to me all the time and they're dealing with the hindrances like confidence and comparison issues and perfectionism and overthinking. A lot of y'all are overthinking, that y'all don't think that y'all not assessing what y'all currently have in y'all hand right now. Y'all think, oh man, that's so little. Well, the last time I checked, God says He can take the little and make it big, right? But you're looking at it as little because you're looking at somebody else that's in their chapter 25, and you're in your chapter 1. Step out. That's just like if you know anything about the word, right? If you know the Bible, if you don't, it's cool. Here's a scripture for you. In Matthew's 25, this talks about the talents, the parable of the talents. He had one talent that he gave the master gave the man one talent. The man was looking at everybody else and all these talents, and he went and buried his. He went and buried his because he didn't think that talent was enough. He like, man, I can't invest it. I can't flip it. I can't do nothing with it. I'm gonna bury it. All right, that's what I'm gonna do. And he went back super proud that that's what he did to steward what he was given. Hey G, that's what he thought that he did with a good job to store what he was given, instead of using it, saying, man, okay, I got this, I'm gonna just work my hand with what I got and we gonna see what we can do, right? He buried it. And so I see a lot of clients that come to me, that's what they're doing. They want to bury it, but they know that there's something on the inside of them, they just don't exactly know how to get it out. And so in order to prevent from themselves burying it, and because they've probably buried it for years, been shut up for years, it's been in caves for years, those voices have been locked up in caves for years, right? They come to me because they're like, I know something, and they need somebody to help them. They need somebody to come through. And so we talked about that. We talked about the hindrances. We also talked about getting clear on your why, getting clear on your message, getting clear on why it is that your voice is needed, why your story is needed, why God is calling you out to tell you to help somebody get to the other side. And then the last thing we talked about today, because we only had 3 today, show up tomorrow and also listen to the podcast as well, is creative. It's the creative, right? Having understanding your creative flow, understanding your creative gift, understanding how you can show up, understanding that if you write, if you speak, if you encourage, there are so many creative ways to do that. And you don't have to be limited. There's no limitations, right? We serve a God that's limitless. So there's no limitations how you do it. If you love music and you love to speak, okay, we'll put together an album, an affirmation album. That was one of the things that I gave. If you love to write, and write a few ebooks, you can do a few webinars, right? Because ultimately, if you really want to unlock your voice, right, the one thing that you're going to recognize is that people aren't going to show up for you in the beginning. They're not going to show up until they see that you can be trusted, that you are a trusted voice that they can depend on. So you have to build a level of consistency. And so not only are you beginning to show this particular, stand out with doing videos and unlocking your voice, you have to find different creative ways to do it, right? You have to develop content. You have to go live. You have to develop podcasts or develop ebooks and those types of things, right? In order to become that trusted voice, become that subject matter expert or that thought leader in whatever that topic is. And that is how people begin to trust you. Realistically, it can take about 90 days to do that. It can take about 90 days to develop and build trust with an audience, right? Some people, if you got a lot of favor on your side, then it might take, you might begin to speak, and as soon as you open up your mouth, people are literally shifted. But it's going to take you to show up in these different ways, right? And so how do I help, right? Let me go through a few ways that I help, right? When my clients, like I said, come to me, we're dealing with the barriers, we're dealing with the level of creativity, and we're also focusing on how they cultivate their message, finding their why, their people, because if you don't know who you serve and the solution that you solve, then honestly, your voice is going to be somewhere out here in these airways, right? And nobody going to know who you are. And so I work with the clients for that. We also deal with the creative aspects, right? Such as determining how they want to show up, right? What is it that you want to build within the next few months? Do you want to build ebooks? How do you want to start? My goal for real, we have a lot of people out here that want to teach everybody how to become 6-figure-naires and millionaires, right? That's not my goal. Money is a byproduct of you actually saying yes to God and stepping out in your purpose. Money is the byproduct of that. All right. However he seems fit, that's up to him. All right. Now realistically, yes, the things that I put in the package, that realistically the packages that you do, you're gonna monetize them. You're gonna make money. And the level of consistency and hard work that you do is going to begin to determine what you make, right? I'm not going to determine that. My goal is to get pulled out of you what is in there, what's been locked up. That's my goal. My goal is to help you unlock your voice. My goal is to help you see yourself the way that God sees you, and that you are not somebody that does not have something. And I'll tell you this, years ago, I remember sitting on the couch. I got out of a relationship, and I remember seeing women and all these people just do all this amazing stuff. And I was still just trying to figure out who I was. And I was sitting on the couch, and I remember one day God just began to speak. And I was like, he was just like, get off the couch, get off the couch, get up, get up. And so I was like, oh. And it was after I got out that relationship that I realized there was so many things that was in me. Man, I started doing events. I started doing like social events, and I started doing marketing. I had a marketing degree, but I didn't think, I was waiting for somebody to give me a job. I didn't know I had the opportunity to open up doors for myself, right? And so I started doing some things, and then how here we are today. God has given me this business, and it's been, I'm not gonna say it's been easy. It hasn't been easy. There's been tons of valley moments. There's been some mountaintop moments, right? But at the end of the day, I know that the work that I'm doing, I'm committing it back to God. And I know that there are people watching me, whether they say it or not. There are people watching and seeing how I flow. They're seeing how I'm consistent. They're seeing how I'm moving. And the people that do say it, that show up in my inbox, that show up asking me for help, that show up, giving me, that show up in my comments saying, hey man, you help me. If I'm just doing it for the one, it's cool, because guess what? We know God goes after the one. He's the one that leaves the 99 for the one. All right. But at the end of the day, I know that the work that I'm doing, I'm committed back to God. And that's what's most important. And that is my job with the people that I work with, is helping pull out something in them because they know it's there, and to help them recognize that there is more on the inside of them, that there is something, that there is a solution for somebody else, out of their mouth, out of their belly, out of their experiences, out of the things that they dealt with. And so that's how I help. So I'm excited, y'all, because I'm actually getting ready to launch. I've already started doing private coaching. I do tons of private coaching all the time, but I'm opening up my private coaching to 10 women, right? I work with faith-filled women who want to help build leaders. I work with leaders, I help develop leaders, I help cultivate leaders who are leaders, and they just need to know where to start. They need to understand creative process. They need to help build. They need my help building processing. They need my help developing the different digital products. They need my help, beginning to unlock their voice and helping them build confidence. And I not only just teach them all those things, but I also help them with the devotional time, right? I had a client that reached out to me yesterday, and she was just like, man, listen, my devotional time has gotten legit. I'm like, man, right? I'm like, that's so sweet. So you basically in your Bible and your bag. Like that just encouraged me to know that I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work that God has called me to do, right? And so I'm excited about that. I'm opening this up to 10 women. I'm looking for, if you're looking for the coach that's going to show up to your game, I can help you. You can actually hit the link in my bio to apply. The one thing I don't do, I'll tell y'all this because I'm super honest, I'm super transparent. The one thing that I don't do is just take anybody. I don't mean that in any kind of disrespect. What I do mean though is that I want to make sure that I'm good for you. If I'm not good for you, I'm not just here to take your money. I don't do that. Maybe you got some people that will, but I won't. All right. I have integrity. So I want to make sure that I'm good for you, and also ultimately that you're good for me, because there's certain people that I know I can really truly help. And so I'll have you. You can fill out the application. It's in the link. You can fill that out. You can schedule after you did finish the application. You can schedule a 30-minute call with me. We talk. Guess what? If we don't work together, cool. If we do, if we don't, that's cool too, because in that 30 minutes, I promise you, I pour out everything that I have to help you get some clarity, help you develop some creativity, and help build up your confidence. So that's all I got for today. I pray that y'all join me again tomorrow at 2 p.m. Okay, join me at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Tomorrow, what are we talking about tomorrow? I almost forgot. Tomorrow we are talking about, defeating creative blocks, right? Defeating the creative blocks. A lot of that creative block is going to be dealing with hindrances. It's not really giving you tons of creative ideas. Um, we dealt with some creative ideas today. Creative blocks, we're going to deal with that, and also a few other things. And then, of course, on the 3rd, which is Saturday, I'll be dropping another Boulder Woman. We actually went a week without a Boulder Woman. A Boulder Woman Speaks is actually my podcast. It's a video podcast. You can find it on Spotify. You can find a few weeks that I've already did, where I interviewed mothers. I interviewed women who have dealt with STDs, also some women who are dealing and understanding and finding purpose in that. I've also spoken with a few women, or a lovely woman that was dealing with abuse. and how she has been advocating for women in church with who deal with abuse, who the church, they don't want to talk about abuse for real and narcissism. So go catch up on those episodes. We didn't do any episodes last week, but this week we're returning. So definitely stay up and listen to it, tune in. And the episode is calling Wrestling with a Bigger You. And so thank y'all for tuning in. I love y'all so much. Thank you again. And for those who watch the replay, make sure you comment. Make sure you comment. Make sure you share and let people know about this series and just even these different lives that I'm doing for the next few days. All right. I love you. Bye. Oh, I almost forgot about Facebook over here. Bye, Facebook. Thank you for tuning in.